and can everybody kind of see?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So, I just start, I can see her hairline this way. Boop. I'm just gonna take that, and then I just kind of clean it up, right?
You'll be fine.
But I essentially, and obviously now also doing this for however long I've been doing it, I don't have to like do that every time. But that's basically like how I come up with my first parting. And my sections are about that thin. They're very little, but that gives me the blendiness I want without having to weave. It's another time thing. I can slice and go, slice and go. And I always generally go in the same order of operations when it comes to my color too. Also, I love, these are my favorite brushes because I love how they're stiff enough that they're some brushes are too soft for me. They just like, I feel like they just become like wet spaghetti noodles when I'm trying to apply color. I need some of that like rigidness, but they taper at the top. And so for me, they're perfect for feathering at the top. If they were all the same width from the base of the hair, what is that? The bristle, thank you. To the top, it'd be like too fat. Like I wouldn't have the like agility. I feel like
too much product on there.
Yeah. I'd get too much product, and I feel like I just wouldn't have the
Precision.
Thank you. I was like, agility is not the right word. Thank you. So I come in and I go right below my the like fold there, and I go down. I might get a little more if I want to. That, and then I go vertically, and then sometimes I'll even give a nice little. And then if I want to, sometimes I'll go in and I'll just go like that, just to really like blend that down. So can you see how there kind of is naturally more product at the front than there was back here? Yeah. If I'm pulling anything further through, I always fold I don't have to do that this time, but I fold the bottom up first and then I fold it to the top, so that again, I'm not getting any extra product at the top of the foil. I don't want extra product up there. I want it really, really soft. And then I'm gonna take my little set, get rid of it. So my color placement, whether I'm choosing high lift or lightener, around the face, like these first two sections that are really kind of right at the hairline, I do all lightener usually. And then I use high lift in kind of the inside, and then on the very top part line and in the crown to get that natural fade back of level. Does that make sense? This is another reason I don't like right my cornrows done. I don't really need to. It's usually always the same thing. For something like this.
Do you use high lift on people that are 6 and below?
I have.
Like when you know it's a little bit of warmth is okay, but I guess if you're
Yes.
blending it with lightener, that you can still get some really beautiful
Yeah.
dimension.
Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll just do 2 different volumes of developer with my lightener instead of high lift.
Yeah,
So I'll do like a 20 for my brighter,
right.
and then I'll do a 7 for my, lower of the 2 highlights.
I like this working toward the hairline too, because I always start right at the hairline, and it can be a little like jarring, like just starting at those baby, those itty bitty
Well, and
baby
then
hairs.
you're like so worried of moving it.
Yeah, and then
with the
exactly
other
you're
foil
foiling
on
on top of it, and you're pushing on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel like
definitely
this
gonna
is
do
like
that.
working smarter, not harder, or
Totally.
whatever, right?
Well,
I
you've
know
already
where I want to end.
exactly.
I can see where I'm gonna end, I have this little bit of buffer here that's gonna do nothing for when she pulls her hair back. I mean, look
Totally.
at that.
Yeah, yeah.
You're still gonna get all of
And
that.
when you start at the hairline, you like focus on getting that.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. And so like this, I don't need that to be
Foil. No.
foiled. And then I can just now move on, right?
Yep.
Now I'm at my next. Oh, it's so weird. Hold on. In front. So then on this heavier side, right, then over there. So this is my, I'm leaving this. And you can see like sometimes I've gone in and I've foiled, right? Because not every single time the sections are going to be all exactly the same. But I'm always generally leaving some kind of negative space somewhere in here because I don't need it to be highlighted. I want it to be my, yes, thank you. So
So
you guys are just finishing all of the words I can't think of tonight.
Jordan, if you were adding in a low light for like fall or because it ended up getting too light, would you put low lights in that like negative space?
Yes, and or I'll kind of, like sometimes I feel like what happens, you know, over time is like
It just gets too.
it gets too kind of washed out on the ends when you've done foil after foil after foil. So I will maybe throw one in some of these spaces that usually are always getting like highlighted, right? And or yes, I might even do a bit more of like a melt. So in like those kind of negative spaces that I tend to leave out, I might go in and like from the root area just sort of feather downward to create.
Well, it's nice because you can do that after your foil. Like you could put your whole foil in, and then because you know your placement, just kind of flip those foils up and melt in sections.
Yeah. And these are like the tiniest little pies, but like that little subsection I just took out had the smallest bit of like triangular shape, right? So that way, again, all my points, the like top of my little pie is getting
Right up at that part line.
concentrated toward the front. Is anything I'm doing or have said thus far like totally different than what you do, similar to what you do?
I have
could
a
you see that really
question.
quick though? Yeah, how I just sort of like that. Is that, can you see that?
You're gonna go in with the head shape,
Yeah, because I'm gonna kind of land again with her.
front hairline.
Yeah. Yes, maybe.
What if they have like like a bigger head? You know, like you couldn't
Yeah.
really do a full foil in like what would typically be your section. What's your approach then?
Do you mean like I'm able to kind of take get a pretty good amount of the hair in there because she doesn't have a really huge head?
Yeah, but like what if like someone every once in a while they're like, oh, okay, like
You got a big noggin, it's a lot of weight.
either the V in the back, it's like most of their hair grows forward, or like they have like a big head. You know?
Yeah, I guess again, what I would do is I really just look at where does the color need to be placed to get the most impact then? Like where do I not need to worry about putting a foil? Because what is gonna look most natural when it comes to like the way that the hair falls, right? So even if I was gonna stretch this into more of a full, like today I'm doing, you know, especially for time, I'm just doing a partial. But every once in a while I'll do a full on someone, right? To just bring a little bit more continuity through the back of the head. I still don't really touch much of this right in here. Is that, cause it just, I don't think it does anything for me.
Like the corner
Yeah.
between the sides of the back. Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like that happens just naturally because, so like, we're starting to get like a little more sparse in there, so I just took the tiniest, and I'm just gonna pick all this up, and then I'm just gonna leave it kind of weave off the top of it.
Do you ever do the like
To
little
get-
blow dryer technique right on the hairline where it
No.
like gets those baby hairs out?
No. Because again, for me, that is like, it's cutting into my time.
Yeah.
I get what they're doing, but I feel like I can do that by just looking at it. Yeah, so like for me, some of the like kind of trend techniques that we see on Instagram and stuff, I feel like, oh, that looks cool, but is it gonna complicate things for me? Probably. I don't need to be worried about getting a blow dryer out while I'm also trying to foil or balayage or whatever. Like that's more tools that I would like to handle
Yeah.
at one time. So really quick, with this section being bigger than this side because of where her part is, I'm gonna do another like little section right in here, another kind of angled section before I get to the part where I move horizontal. And that's where I'm going to start doing every other lightener and highlight.
So up until now, it's just been
Just been lightener.
Or lightener. Sorry.
Yeah, just been lightener. Let me tilt this way a little bit. Thank you.
What's your take on somebody that has a really flexible part line?
I do just a lot more weaving
Weaves?
in that whole section.
Like from the middle then?
Yeah. Yeah, if they tend to be like, I live somewhere in the middle or all the way to the left, then I'm just gonna worry about that. And then, but if they're like, I flip all around, I would just sort of weave that entire kind of mohawk
Yeah.
section then.
Well, I also find people that like move their part around, they're fine with getting different dimension as
Mhm.
they move it around and
Yep.
stuff like that. So like,
Yeah.
as long as it just blends, no matter where it falls, they're happy.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the beauty of when you are feathering, you're always gonna get that, you're always gonna get that blend. You're still never gonna have like a big chunk of color somewhere, right? So tiny pie. And then this one will be high lift.
One of the questions I was gonna ask, which I don't know if we're gonna cover today, is foiling on top of your base color, and this is actually really helpful too, because it's hard for me to take a clean section while I'm foiling on top of color, but I think it's because I'm taking too big of a section and then trying to weave it, and it's like because that hair is clumped together at the base,
Yeah.
you still get these kind of clumpy weaves.
And
So
when
if you're
you,
taking like an itty bitty section, then you're gonna
Do
get.
you do the base color first?
that's what I was
and
just gonna
then-
ask.
I don't ever have, I'm not ever happy with any of those versions, basically. Whether you
Okay.
foil first and then put your base around, because then your base isn't,
Yeah.
it's like the timing doesn't work out, or I've never been super happy with foiling on top of a base color because I feel like I'm not getting the dimension and the weave that I want.
I did one
Yeah.
recently where I just tapped the root with the base color and then foiled up and just smudged it slightly. And so that way I could go just in with the base color right afterwards.
But you
Just a
tap,
little more
So
really
in the foil, I just like put the foil in and you tap the root with the
With your
base
base
color
color.
that you're gonna do. Just tap it. Maybe leave the closest part to the front out a little bit and then start foiling and feather up. to that
it,
color.
right?
Yeah.
And then finish your foil and then apply the rest of your base
Yeah.
color.
So I was
Interesting,
only
yeah.
3 foils because I want to leave that.
Because color stops processing after 30 minutes, so you don't really have to worry too much if like
If it's sitting in there.
sitting there
longer.
for too long.
Yeah.
Okay, tilt to the side again. So as I start on my part line, I'm gonna take just this thin little, it's just like that hairline in the front.
Mhm.
It's not, it doesn't matter if it's colored because it's just gonna diffuse
Mhm.
the top, right? Like look how thin that is. It's not gonna make it
Barely
look dark, quote unquote. It's so soft that it just diffuses it. And then I weave. more of that,
Something.
like, yeah, diffusion. And then high lift on the part so that it's really soft. Okay. And then I basically take what I leaved out and I flip that over. Because I do want her to be light, right? But I want it to be soft. And that again, it would be dependent on the client, right? How much of that you want to see. Oh, uh-oh. That's what my sleeve looks like.
And you're alternating color and
This is still high lift.
Gotcha.
Like my first two are weaved and high lift. And
gotcha.
then I will go in and I'll start alternating again.
Right.
Because again, it's the idea of, so this one I didn't just, I took a little more than what I weaved out.
And then that whole section underneath that you're working on, that was also alternated between.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
then
like
this will be lightener and a slice.
So again, just everything that like goes right around, like right here and here, front hairline,
Mm-hmm.
is all just
Lightener.
Lightener.
Mhm.
And then once you get into this section,
Mm-hmm.
here and here,
Yep.
then you alternate.
Yep.
Okay.
And then in the back on the crown, I pretty much just do high lift.
Okay.
So that again, everything I'm doing is creating like fading, like a fade back.
Yeah.
Does that?
There's some gradation from the
Yes.
front to the back.
Yeah, it's not only like gradation eventually over time from top to bottom, but from front to back as well. Because that gives you that natural look, right? Teeny tiny pie. And then I'll do high lift on this one too.
When you do coils with both high lift and bleach, do you still tone?
But by feathering, I don't have to like, by one, feathering and using two colors or two levels, let's say, we're gonna end up on two different levels. I don't have to use two toners. So I don't need to worry about the fact that like, so my high lift, it's got a built-in toner. And by feathering, I don't have to shadow root.
Yeah.
It's like one less step in my time. Okay, so then I just come in and I just sort of like assess the crown area. And I make a triangle.
I think that is better, because then you can make adjustments.
Do you start from the top and work your way down like you?
I actually, yeah, I will kind of do like
We'll see on the 18th.
once I kind of have my section, yeah, like where I want to go, then I'll like take my like, here's like one, here's the other one. I might end up doing a little more. I kind of do that as I like decide as I go, if that makes sense. So then I'll come in and I'll do, this will be slices until I'm coming to the end of my section, and then it's weaves again. so that again, it's diffusing into where there will no longer be color. Does that make sense?
Do you do full foils very often?
I would say I do them probably like every 2 to 3 times for a client. Is that, like, I'll do like 2 to 3 partials and then a full. And sometimes I'll just do a face ring in between too.
But I'm thinking about how, like, if this is your partial too, your fulls aren't like, oh my god, the whole, like, every hair is in a foil.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
Yep.
strategically placed full.
My fulls basically, I mean, they're this plus like 1, 2, 3, and then at the hairline again.
Right.
Unless we're going obviously for a very, very blonde look, but I feel like I have catered my clients, and also the like looking a bit softer and more natural is what people want right now. And so to still remain relatively darker, for lack of a better way to say it, underneath, it still looks natural, right? And then I'm gonna weave this one.
Do your subs get a little bit thicker as you go down? too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, these are like thicker subsections than around the face, right?
Did you?
I don't need it, exactly. So I will finish this crown area, and then I'll just kind of quietly work on the other side. I normally would just bounce right over to the other side after I do my heavier side, right? Then do the other side around the face, and then pop back, and then do the crown. But for you to be able to see, and then we can move on time-wise. I went to the crown next. So then I'll just, oh, I didn't need to take that down. Move it out of my way, and then do exactly as I did over there on the other side.
Do you make sure to kind of like go like to the edge of the section that you took from the foil before, so it doesn't need like a split? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like at the bottom of the V, is that what you're
Yeah,
talking
at the bottom of the V.
Like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because really this section is to just give that bit of dimension in the back so that we don't have 2 different heads of hair, right? We don't have light in the front, dark at the back,
Yeah.
like a color mullet. And then, but it doesn't need to have nearly as much brightness and boldness as the front does.
Yeah.
So it just kind of sits underneath that whirl section to balance, right?
Well, I'm wondering, like, once you get done with these last little foils, that top triangle that you're leaving out, are some of the ends lightened from
Yeah.
previous ones? So, like, if you were doing this on a virgin head of hair,
Yeah.
would you get in there and, like, do, I was thinking, like, a deep tease and just pick out the ends?
I also don't tease.
Ever.
No. Cause for me, I actually feel like I get it, I feel like when I have, it actually comes out splotchier.
Huh.
Oops, sorry, I'm like talking, so I did it again. I didn't need to take that down. I'm gonna do my weave section and then I'll work into the top. But, cause I feel like it's not, you can't count on how that's gonna end up with something as, what's the word I'm looking for? Random as backcombing. For me,
Right.
personally, I've just never loved the effect that I get from that. I feel like I have more control and I know exactly what I'm gonna get when I just
Do the
better.
system that you
Yeah,
want.
so I could just stay lower and then I could just go like this.
Right.
If I wanted still a bit more of that grow out kind of look. Yeah, if it was virgin, I would probably throw some in that little whirl section, but I would go much lower and even softer with my feathering,
Right.
and or I would balayage it.
Uh-huh.
Like I would just go in and I'd hand paint this section to get that melt
Mm-hmm.
or something. Like I'm gonna do a few more on this side because of where her part naturally lies, but I'm gonna leave like all of that. Come over the top. Sometimes I'll throw one in like right here,
Mm-hmm.
cause I don't know, that hair, that's hair that could sometimes fall back, sometimes go forward.
Mm-hmm.
But even like you can see, she's got a really strong
Heart line.
right there. So I'm gonna leave that all in here. Cause I really don't wanna see that foil line when her hair splits. And depending on the, like, you know, she was here 6 weeks ago and she's still pretty bright and looks pretty blonde everywhere. So I'm doing, and also for time's sake, I'm doing a little less than maybe I would another time if she wanted to be brighter.
Mm-hmm.
I do a few more, but I'm still very much following the idea of where am I gonna get the most effect? Where do I wanna see that, right? Where do I need the boldness and where can I leave it? Cool. So I just hold the bottom up if there's part up there, because I don't want it to sit up at the top. Okay, I'm gonna move on to this side. I'll just quietly keep working. You're ready, Jamie?
Yeah. I don't have a